Hey budgeteers, today we're talking about how to save electricity. That's a big topic around my household. Every time I'm getting in the car, I swear I look down the stairs and there it is. Every light in the entire house is on, and then I get that electric bill at the end of the month and I think, why didn't I stop that sooner? So first, we're going to take a look into my electric bill and how it's being calculated and how you can calculate how much your appliances and light bulbs are costing you, and then talk about some ways that we can save on those electric bills. Without further ado, I would like to take you directly into my electric bill, and we'll look at the last month that I just got billed for and learn how to calculate how much our electric bill is costing us and how much a specific item is costing us in electricity as well. Here is my electric bill for January of 2017. You can see here that the service period was from December 13th, 2016 to January 12th, 2017. 30 elapsed days, which means I had 30 days in my billing period. And you can see meter readings, which are somewhat confusing, but we'll talk about how those work. And the amount used this month, and that's going to be an important key number in our research today. So the first thing that I want to take note of is that electric bills are really difficult to get on top of because the bill has already passed. You've already used all of this electricity, and so you have to remember what you did to make changes in the future. And just because you make a change today doesn't mean your next bill will be lower per se, because you might already be too late. You're already halfway through a billing cycle. It will make a minor difference in the next bill, but it's the following bill after that that you'll have made the biggest difference in. So don't get discouraged when trying to work on an electric bill. It's super important you stay on top of it. However, let's continue forward because I don't want to take too long talking about that. We're going to talk about how my bill is calculated and how your bill is calculated, and then we're going to show you how to use that bill to determine what sorts of things you might be able to change to save electricity. So the first thing I have here is that I have two different winter blocks or charges that came through. I've got for 12 days, 324 of my kilowatt hours came in at this cost per unit. So that's 8.5 cents and some. And then for 18 days, I had 486 kilowatt hours come in at 8.6 cents per kilowatt hour that came through. Why the difference? Well, we'll talk about that as well. Energy cost adjustment, so they're adding to my total 810. So if you add 324 and 486, I had 810 kilowatt hours. I have an adjustment here that's charging me just a little less than half a cent per kilowatt hour extra. And then I have a benefit here that I get for all of my kilowatt hours of a little bit more than a half a cent that they are giving back to me. So then I get a credit back on my bill. So what's going on here is they're taking the total number of kilowatt hours and they're multiplying that by my cost per unit. Now, sometimes, depending on where you live, they'll have different blocks. So for the first 12 days, I was in a single block, and then in the second 18 days of the month, I was in a different block or a different limit. And depending on how much energy you use, it will split that up differently. All different electric companies do this differently. So you'll have to look at your bill specifically to get to that number. And some of them will actually tell you at the very end, based on using 810 kilowatt hours, your total charge per kilowatt hour was X. And then you'll know exactly how much your kilowatt hour costs you. Now, for me, I have to go in and do the math on this. I basically know that this basic charge of $5 does not count my actual energy charge. I just always get charged that no matter what. And then I also have this customer efficiency services that comes in, and that's going to be charged for this 810, and that's added on there as well. But this isn't so much for the electricity usage, it's another energy service that I'm having done as well. But because that is per kilowatt hour, it does count as my total electric bill. So I will include that in my totals. So basically, I can take everything below the $5 and I can figure out exactly how much 1 kilowatt hour costs for me. So pull up the calculator here, and I will take $73.95, and I will divide that, I have to subtract out my $5 basic charge first, and then I divide that by 810, and I come out to an average rate of 8.512345, and it goes on for a very long time, cents per kilowatt hour. So you'll notice that this number is actually lower than the total in block 1, and it's also lower than the total in block 2 because my adjustments are making up some difference there for me. It's somewhat confusing, but that's exactly how much 1 kilowatt hour costed me during the month of January. And that number will go up and down, but this is a good general rate. I could say 8.55 cents per kilowatt hour is going to be my new estimate. And I'm rounding up there big time because this is a 1, but I would just take that to 8.55 cents, and I can begin to do my math on all of my appliances and things that are costing me money. So let's talk about ways to save the bill. We'll jump back to the camera and we will figure out how we can start to lower this and talk about how different things will affect that billing. So now that I've got my kilowatt hours price calculation done, I can go take a look at specific devices and find out how much they're costing me. So let's dive in right now. I'm going to show you a couple of things. I've got with me here a set of Philips Hue light bulbs that I'm going to take a look at in comparison to the current lights that are sitting in this room. And we'll determine how much money they're costing me. And I'm going to show you how you can calculate your own electric prices at home. So right here, I've got this light bulb made by Philips called the Hue light bulb. These light bulbs are automated, so I can control them with my Alexa that we've shown before, and I can also control them from my phone and turn them off on the go. So if I'm running out to the car and I look downstairs and see that this light bulb's on, I can turn it off right there from the car or have my wife push the buttons while I drive, which is awesome. That alone is going to save me some money. However, this right here puts out approximately 60 watts worth of light, which if you look at a 60 watt light bulb versus this one, this is only 9 watts. So it's just as bright, but it's 9 watts compared to 60. We're going to do some calculations and I'll show you what the cost difference is between the two. So for this 9 watt light bulb, I can divide it by 1,000 and that will give me my kilowatt output from this bulb that I'm taking to light that. And so with that, I take 9 divided by 1,000, and then I'm going to multiply it by my 8.55 cents. And that's going to give me my current hourly charge on this light bulb. So let's go ahead and do that math real quick. So doing the math really quick there, 9 watts divided by 1,000 is 0.009 kilowatts per hour. And so then I multiply that by my 8.55 cents that I came to, and that comes out to 0.0007 cents per hour. And I'm rounding down on that, but I guess you could say 0.0008 cents per hour that I run my light bulb. So next, I'm going to multiply that by 365, because let's say I run it for 1 hour a day. So running that light bulb for an hour a day is going to cost me approximately 28 cents. It's a pretty cheap bulb. Now, let's go ahead and run the math for a 60 watt bulb, which is putting out the exact same brightness as this bulb, but using 60 watts instead of 9. All right, so looking at that, 60 watts is 0.06 kilowatts per hour. Then we multiply it by our 8.55 cents, and we come to 0.005 cents. So with that, I'm now paying a little bit more, still not a lot. If I multiply that by 365, however, I'm paying $1.87 to run that light bulb in comparison to my 28 cents, which means I'm paying a lot more. That's 2 Mountain Dews for me. So what are some ways we can save electricity? Let's talk about that. Number 1, like I said, turning off those light bulbs, turning off your computer when you're not using it, shutting off your monitor, and also turning off anything else that you can possibly turn off while you're gone. This is difficult because we want to turn off certain things, but they keep ticking in the background. Some examples of that would be like our computer. If we just close our laptop lid, the motors and engines keep running in there, and I talk motors and engines, I'm talking motherboards and fans, keep running in there because they still have to calculate and compute things and keep your data up to date while your computer's just closed down. It's different than shutting down the entire machine. The same goes for appliances like your television or your computer monitor. It might be using electricity in the background just because it's plugged in, and therefore it's using some sort of watts or kilowatts per hour. And we may need to calculate all of those in our home in order to start to determine what is the most energy-using source in our entire home. Now, of course, we can start to look at some of the biggest energy users like our fridges, freezers. We've got a lot of those in our house. Even my electric dryer is massively big. So it uses a lot of electricity. If I go out and take the total watts of my dryer, divide it by 1,000 and times it by that 8.55 cents, I start to see that it's using electricity very quickly in the 1 to 2 hours that we run it every time we run a cycle of laundry, which gets very pricey. So turning those things off, keeping things unplugged, and eliminating the use of electricity is obviously the first and foremost way to lower your energy bill. The second thing you can do, which is what I'm doing right here, is start to replace out your light bulbs with bulbs that use less watts but produce the same amount of light. I won't see any difference. In fact, I believe this light will be a little bit brighter than the current lights that I'm using. And so I'm going to replace it out and I'm going to save approximately that $1.50 per year just by using this bulb instead of that bulb. And of course, that assumes I only run the lights for 1 hour, but replacing that out is key. It's going to help. There are certain appliances that we can buy. For example, when we were moving into this house here, we had to buy a new fridge. And when looking at the different refrigerators, it says right on the side how much energy it anticipates it will use, and it calculates a yearly cost for you. What they do is they just take a national average of electric prices, like that 8.55 cents that we calculated, and they come up with a number that they assume that will cost you per year. They're actually pretty accurate. Depending on the place where you live and your power bill, it's going to be pretty close. So take a look at the appliances the next time you're buying or when you're ready to replace, and make sure that you're getting energy efficient appliances because that will also save you a lot on your energy bill. The last thing you can do, which is not as important and it's not something that everyone can do, but it is something that helps, and that's to start to automate your process. So with my light bulbs, I can now check whether they're on or off no matter where I am. This is going to be a really nice feature for me because I can't always tell if the room that my son sleeps in has his lights on or off. I just don't know as I'm running out the door. But now I can open up my phone and check and see if the lights are on or off, and I can turn them off on the go. Or if I need to, while we're out, I can turn a light on to let somebody know that someone's at home. Or I can do all sorts of different things with my lighting fixtures. Now, this isn't going to save a lot of money, but it is going to help in the long run. If it's going to run for 3 hours while I'm gone, that's 3 out of the 365 hours that I've just calculated out of this light bulb. I know it's pennies, but saving those pennies is going to be a great thing. The other thing, too, is that just because the electricity costs less, this bulb costs a lot more than my other light bulb. So I am paying more up front for something that I'm hoping will save me a lot of money in the long run. The other great factor about buying higher end or nicer light bulbs and appliances is that you hope that they'll have a longer life. These say that they'll last about 22 years, where my other bulbs claim that they won't last anywhere near as long, maybe a couple years at most. And so this will be one of those costs that over 22 years, hopefully I don't have to buy 11 of those, and that will pay the difference between the two, plus the energy savings. Now I have an electric bill savings overall. We can take that into account and say, how much did the bulb cost? How long did it live? If these start to burn out in 5 years and they don't live up to their name, I definitely lost. So those are 3 great ways that we can save on our electricity bills. I hope that you'll go out and start trying to cut down on the bills that you need to. Maybe you're great with electricity. I don't know. At my family, we have a hard time. We do pretty good when we're all hustling around, but I've got young kids and they don't always remember to flip off the switch. So if I had one word of advice, turn things off. It's going to help. And I'm going to work on that a lot this year too. I'm hoping that I can drive my electric bill down below the $60 mark because this month it came in around $73.95. Unacceptable. We'll fix it. Let's start saving electricity starting today. If you have any great electricity saving tips, leave them in the comments below. I know that a lot of us have great ideas. Share them with us. We'd love to hear about it. Thanks for watching. I'm extremely glad to have you here. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up. For more awesome videos, make sure you are subscribed.